Hey guys, today we're going to create a very bougie presentation box. And we're going to start with this little cigar box that I simply coated with a couple of coats of Fusion Mineral Paint in coal black. And I'm going to put on what they call a transfer. It's from Temu, and I believe it's more for fabric transfer, but you can transfer it onto hard objects as well. It's just a little more difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by ironing it on with my little craft iron. Now, maybe your regular iron might work a little bit better and faster if it gets a little hotter than a craft iron. I'm not sure, but you have to be careful because you don't want to disturb the paint around it. So this takes a little time and some patience. So what I did was I ironed it in various places, and I would rub it with a burnishing tool for transfers, and then I would iron it some more. Now, my tip to you is let it cool in between, because if you don't, it's going to be harder to pull off. It's not going to release. So as you can see, I'm going at it, and I've cut a lot of this video out. If you can even imagine that, I cut a lot of it out because it was a process. And I decided to go just around the edge a little bit with that transfer. And so I did that, burnish it a little bit more, burnish it and heat it, burnish it and heat it. That was my method to my madness. And as it was cooling, see where I hadn't put the iron recently, you're able to just pull it off very slowly, very carefully, and voila. Phew! Hallelujah! Bye-bye! I just wanted you to hear what was said in the video. It was a hallelujah moment. We finally got it done. And I think it turned out really pretty. Anyway, on top of that, we have stenciling that we're going to do with my stencils from Vintage Retail Therapy by Mara. The stencil is called Diamonds in Distress, and I do sell this in my Etsy shop. What I'm doing here is I'm going to combine and mix some metallics. This is a silver rub and buff, and then I'm going to take the Pent Art Antique Gold Wax, and I'm going to mix it in with that. What it's doing is it's kind of dulling down that silver a little bit, and I'm actually adding some more of the Pent Art wax to it, and it just gives it more of a champagne look than a bright silver look. And so don't be afraid to mix your metals and things like that. Now, it's wax on, wax off, Danielson. I am just getting in there on the side of the box with the smaller Diamonds in Distress. And I go around the sides of the box with all of the smaller ones. Having a little struggle there with that latch, but it wasn't undoable. It was totally doable. Just had to hold it on there. And what I like about working with the waxes as opposed to a paint is that you can, dab it on, swirl it on. You're not going to have the bleed that you would with a paint. Okay, so we get it on all four sides. And this part was just a little bit more difficult. So what I did was I just bent it over the side and put it in my lap. Any port in the storm, right? You get it done any way you can, especially when you're doing a live video. But yeah, just get all four sides done. And then we move on to the top of the box. Now, the top of the box A lot easier because what I do is I just go in and around where there's the transfer, and I just try not to touch the transfer. And if you do, it's really no big deal. Just take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and a paper towel and wipe it, or even with a little cotton swab, you can get in there and wipe it off right away before it dries. Anyway, that was a pretty easy process. Right now we're going to work on the inside of the box a little bit. I'm going to take this white lace I get on a roll from Hobby Lobby and just kind of use it as a stencil for the box because I wanted it to be a real white. I used Casement white Fusion Mineral Paint. And what I'm doing here is I'm just taping with clear tape so that it stays down while I'm stenciling it, holding it with my hand on the other end and just dabbing with the paint. Now remember I said it doesn't bleed as much if you're using wax. Well, this is paint, so I definitely put the paint on and got a lot of it off. And when I redip into the part of the plate where there isn't very much paint so that it's not going to bleed underneath. And as you can see, it's working pretty well. And there's that one little strip there at the bottom that we're going to have to kind of do a redo. And I'm going to dry it first though because I don't want it to smear. Once it's dried, you can take the template, I'm going to call it a template for stenciling, and just add it over top of the other stencil. I did tape it down and just dab, 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 pounce, pounce, pounce. I'm a pouncer when it comes to working with the paint because I don't like it smearing. And it turned out a little bit darker than the other one, but that's okay. It looks very natural, looks like a little bit of lace on there. Okay, so I dried it up, and what's more bougie than fur, right? We're gonna grab some fur on a roll that you can get pretty much any craft store, Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby. I believe mine is from Hobby Lobby. So I'm just measuring it inside the box there, and you want to cut on the opposite side of the fur. And if you can see what I'm doing with the scissors, I'm not using the full scissor, I'm using just the tip going in and cutting because that makes it to where you, on the other side, you can't see where the fur has been chopped off. It doesn't look chopped off if you can see the fur is still furry, for lack of a better word. It doesn't look like it had a bad haircut. So I use the first piece as a template, and I go in and I cut my second piece. And what I'm doing here is pulling off the excess fur. You want to get rid of all of that. It kind of sheds a little bit. So now what I'm doing is I am putting the pieces in there and butting them up together in the center. My goal is to try and get them to where you can't see that it's two pieces. So I'm going in with my hot glue gun and I am attaching the first piece. And I went up the side just a little bit. It was just a little bit wider than it needed to be, but that's okay because we had the sides that we can go up the side a little bit. And then I'm going to work on making sure it's secure in there and glued, and that center part is the part that I worked the hardest on, trying to get it so that it would match up together, butt up together, and not be seen so much as two pieces, but more or less one. I'm getting there with my glue gun and just really giving it the workout, giving it the rub down. And as you can see, it did look pretty much seamless. So I'm going to show you how this can be used as a little presentation box. You could use this, for a quinceañera. You can use it for a bridal gift. You can use it for so many things. But if you need a special presentation box, this is your ticket. This box was purchased as raw wood box from Hobby Lobby. Now I'm going to add some accoutrement to the top here. I've got a beautiful, totally dazzled mini crown that I'm going to add just because we can. It needs some more pizzazz, and we are able to do that with Totally Dazzled, right? And here's my favorite Totally Dazzled bow, because it's chunky and it's got all that gorgeous bling. We're going to put that right in the middle of, there's a bag that those flowers are in, and we are going to put that kind of as at the top of that bag as a little bit of bling factor. Now, being an ambassador for Totally Dazzled, I was able to create my own bling pack, and one of the pieces was a little lipstick that you see there, and I'm adding that right next to the lipstick that is on the transfer. And now I'm going to just trim out that bag so that it stands out as a bag. Right now it just looks kind of like it's floating in space, but we're going to trim it out with a little bit of bling on a roll that I get from Hobby Lobby. It comes in gold and it comes in silver, and it's always good to get it when it's half off. But I'm just going in, starting it with a little bit of a glue. The B7000 glue with the skinny tip is what I use here, because it's easy to apply the glue and then the strand of bling. And there's only 3 sides to this bag that you have to bling, so just tapping it on very, very gently and lightly. It can be a little tedious, but it's totally doable. I'm just snipping it off with a little wire snip and adding the glue. Just a straight line there, and then tapping on the strip of bling, making sure that the bling is upward, facing upward. And there you go. Okay, so next we're going to add some pearls, because pearls are definitely a bougie item, right? And the key to doing this with the pearls is just letting them unfurl. just drop them where they drop, and see what happens. You always have the option of moving them about and playing with them a little bit, like you see me doing here. I just kind of position them where I thought they looked good. They just kind of furl here and there and twist around. I started with a dab of hot glue just to hold it in place. Then with that skinny tip in the B7000, I get in there and I just kind of gently roll the pearl back and add a little bit of glue as I go. And that's my process for doing that. You just let the pearls do what they do best. Look beautiful. And I just kind of furled them through the flowers and all over the box. No rhyme or reason. Makes it kind of a one-of-a-kind piece. And if you get any extra glue, you can dab it off. You can get it off with a little bit of alcohol before it dries, and just dab it off. So I decided it needed just a little bit more coming down the side of the box there, just a little tiny bit. So I just attached a little strand of the pearls at that side behind the shoe, and once that dries, it's not going anywhere. And it's looking bougier by the minute, right? that a word? Bougier? Well, it is now. Okay, and what would a bougie box be without some bling? You need a little bit of bling, right? So enter Totally Dazzled Ultimate Rhinestone Applicator Kit. They have these little green trays that you put the bling in and you just shake it, and the ones that turn up you grab with your Totally Dazzled rhinestone applicator. It's like got a little waxy nib at the end there, and you just grab it up and place it where you put a dot of glue. And this is addictive. Let me just tell you, I've been doing this for years, and I just when I got this applicator kit, I wanted to bling everything in my house. My husband had to step away before he got blinged. Anyway, I am just blinging out the heel of that shoe. And I think it looks fabulous. And in the end, I do go in and add some more bling. After the live, I went in and added more. You'll see at the end. Make sure you watch the video to the end so you can see up close and personal some of the photos I took of the box afterward. Aren't they pretty? And I added a little extra pearls on the inside of the box. Here's a little video I did just up close and personal. I did go in and I cleaned up a little bit of the box where there was some wax where I had touched a couple of places, but you can see the diamonds in distress. That's what it's called. The stencil is called Diamonds in Distress, and they are distressed Harlequin diamonds. Just beautiful. I love that pattern. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, y'all. I hope you enjoyed the process that I took you through, and I hope it gets your creative juices flowing to make a presentation box for something special you'll be gifting. And if you've been enjoying my videos, make sure you're following me in all the places: Etsy, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you soon.